And I think we are live. Here we go. Good morning, traders. It is August 12th, Tuesday, and for me, it's day 26. I think it's day 26 of my payout challenge. It's CPI. So it released at 8:30 this morning, and with CPI day, one of the things that we want to look for is where is the manipulation? Is manipulation down in here pre-CPI, and CPI is push in the prevailing direction, or is CPI itself the manipulation? And pre-market, I was kind of scoping out this short. I didn't enter it because I was not ready to, but it was neat to see it play out as usual. So that's kind of the big question that I'm wondering here is, and I'm not seeing tons of accumulation pre-930. We got this little accumulation zone here. It's not very significant, and want to see does it stop up here and then continue on for further downside, or does it manipulate lower for continuation? I'm feeling a little bit of both ways on this today. On one hand, here on the 15-minute chart, I could totally see it coming down into here for continuation. 1 hour, 2. It creates a gap between these candles, comes down, and then pushes up higher. But given that it did take this liquidity up in here, 4-hour high right here, and there's bearish SMT forming up in here, I could also see the potential case of it coming down and being the high of the week and selling off this week, leaving this all-time high later. So ultimately, it is my main target is this high for the day. We took the previous day high, which 65% of the time says continuation. So I'm going to lean towards a bullish scenario, but I'm not going to be totally opposed to a bearish scenario, which I feel like has been the case the last week or so. Is just really seeing it a little bit of both ways, which I don't like it that way because you want to see it one way. That's totally clear when you just see it long or see it short. But we keep getting ourselves in these weird zones, or the NQ keeps getting in these weird zones where I can see it both ways. And that's fine, because I can be adaptive and take it, read it both ways too. So we have 2 minutes until open, and up this chart just a little bit. Trying to see what else. We have the regular trading hour gap is below, so could push down into that a little bit. In this case, we've taken Asia, we've taken London highs. We took this major buy side up in here, which was previous day's lunch high. I really wish I would have been ready to take that short, because that would have been the trade. In this middle ground here, it's a little less clear because there's no major liquidity to take at 930 if it's bullish. It has to come down in here before it takes anything significant. And if it comes down in here, I don't know if I'm totally bullish at that point. So kind of a little bit in no man's land right here. We'll see though. We have 2 minutes until open still. So that did hit TP. Neat to see. So let's go. I don't know what today's going to bring. I'm kind of rolling into today with the same mindset that I did yesterday. Like I don't have to take a trade today. I've been feeling like that's been helping me out a lot. And I felt especially if I was recording these and then making these recordings, live streams public, that I would be better out. There's just like a subconscious thing that says you have to take a trade because there might be people watching and they want to see you take a trade. And so I've been doing better about rolling into these lives just kind of without the stress of taking a trade. And that's helped out quite a bit. So I've done better with having profitable trades. I want to try to drop the terms winning and losing because that ties into self-worth too much. Subconscious level we find, oh, here's the open, so I'll stop talking. All right, regular trading hour gap is formed. That's this blue box down in here. I'm going to clear this off because I just don't want to mess up what I'm thinking. So a little bit of a stop hunt down in here. Let's check out ES and YM. So the news high was already taken. YM just took off. Okay. Stop hunting both ways at this point. See where this candle closes. Right now it's compression. Kind of looking around, seeing what I think. What would make me the most comfortable would be some sort of continuation play down into here and then up there. I would like that. I'm just looking for significant liquidity pool to take, have been taken. So maybe it consolidates for a little while. That's been happening a lot, 9:30 to 10. We kind of just get these floating seek and destroy consolidations like this, one way or the other. It's happened many days in the last week or two, so I'm keeping an eye out for that. NQ tends to go in cycles, I've noticed, where for 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, up to 4 weeks, it can kind of just play these patterns out. You'll see, like for a few weeks, I saw that 9:30 on the dot formed the model, my model. And if I just basically longed or shorted 9:30, I would be on sides for my trade. And now it's not really doing that anymore. And I haven't documented any of those models in a while. So here, stop hunt, breaker. But see how deep this candle's digging up into here? This is giving me a clue, suggesting it's going to be a little more high resistance, or it's going to flip this. So this isn't good for trading, really, for me. So just kind of waiting and seeing what happens here on the next little bit. Looking over here. I like how the 1 hour here made a bullish breaker. So all these down closed candles here, this one candle closed above that, forming a bullish breaker with an inversion. That's basically my model on a 1 hour time frame. I don't like this trend line liquidity down in here. Right there, that's targets. I would have loved it if there would have been a stop hunt down in here and it blasted off, but let's actually roll over here and flip to the 1 hour. Check that idea out. I want to see if there was SMT down in there. So here at this low, there is SMT. So YM and ES stop hunted this 1 hour right there. I like that. That to me is bullish. All right, so 9:30 is making the order block, right? Close below, forming an order block, a change in state of delivery or a breaker, whichever way you want to look at it. Now it's closing above. When it does this, this tends to be the prevailing direction. Kind of flails, closes one way, fakes everybody out, and goes this way. So these few candles here to me are telling me it's going to deliver to buy side. Could be wrong. It can do whatever the heck it wants, right? Here's a 15-minute stop hunt down in here into a 15-minute fair value gap. So here, I'm trying to look at liquidity was already taken. So that has to make you, this is major liquidity up in here. Hard to see on the 1 minute right here. Once that happens, you have to really think hard and try to determine, well, was this the liquidity grab or is this the start of a breakout, right? And If that's the case, then this is a minor liquidity grab for continuation to, this would be the all-time high, previous month's high, things like that. I'm imagining business is not done up in here, but we shall see. Here's the first presented fair value gap. It formed at 934. That's the first imbalance in a candle that forms post 930. Be helpful in indicating direction and bias. Above it, bullish; below it, bearish. You flip it, you're probably strongly bullish or bearish, and or go into seek and destroy mode. We're here on the 15-minute. I like how it's forming this BPR, this triple BPR, balanced price range. There's no price trading in this candlestick right in this zone here, which overlaps with this candlestick here, which if this closes would overlap with this candlestick here. That would be sweet, looks sweet for bullish delivery. Now there's still 8 minutes until this candle closes, so it's hard to say. This could just form an upper wick like right in here, push further down. And if that was the case, would I justify a short potential? So here on the 1 hour, tapped back down into this inversion. If it's bullish, that should hold. Shouldn't come back down into here. I'd expect a breakaway gap. So it retested this first presented fair value gap. Zoom out here a little bit. These are all the black and red levels are daily and weekly levels I got on my chart currently. Turn this indicator off, the first presented fair value gap and opening range gap. It's kind of done its job for me for the moment. So price tapped into a 30-minute fair value gap and did a 30-minute stop hunt. In this case here, here's this order block and change in state and delivery breaker, however you want to see it. I didn't have any means for entry looking back, so even if I had seen this as viable, I don't have an entry model. Not up until way up here in premium, really, because here's this inversion. Giant 1-minute breaker. It'd be a bit of a continuation play. Just 1-to-1 to the primary target. So we have these fair value gaps down in here. Really, they should support price with this inversion. There is I anticipate it would go higher than the previous month's high, but can't be certain. There's no targets above. Maybe I'll so we're out of my macro, or this is the close of that macro. Maybe I'll sit here and I'll look at a manipulation leg. Go to, what time frame should I go to? I'm trying to look around, seeing if I see a nice manipulation leg to pull some standard deviations off of. I don't. Nothing that's going to be helpful, at least. So 1 minute outside the macro, like curious, just seeing risk on this per mic. Oh yeah, it's 9:42, 2 minutes outside of macro. I think that's a little far for me to consider an entry. I don't mind 1 minute, but that's a different chart up over here. So the 15 minutes going to close in 2 minutes. I really like the 15 minute. So it looks like this candle is going to close above the breaker. I feel like that's my entry or not kind of thing. I feel like it's going to rip from there. Could be wrong. I think I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for another couple minutes, see what it does. I'd like to find out a little more information. It might just rip without me, which is a strong possibility. I would consider this a continuation setup, which a little more cautious with. It didn't quite do everything perfectly. It didn't, and that's where I want to see a little more information. So far, right call. I was curious to see if it would come back down for a little more up in here. See what ES and YM are doing. So everything's looking relatively in sync. Holy shnikes. Look at that. The gut was right. However, if this candle pushes up and close and back up into here, that's a pretty big buy signal. I don't know if it's going to. And this one candlestick very well could shift the whole narrative. And that close down there is pretty bearish. Oddly, there is no bearish SMT forming here. Unless it's so subtle, like here is this high here. That's still not equal. So I'm not seeing any bearish SMT to back up a short idea. So still being patient. We have 4 minutes until the next macro. So that long idea right there would have been toast. Breaker did not form yet. Apps are all starting to flip in here. Which if it does come back up into here and closes, that could be a very nice long signal. But at the moment, I want to look around a little bit more and see on the 5 minute, looking a little like consolidation, a little bit. Here on the 15 minute. So look at this one candlestick and this strong rejection from the DPR. Now this new 15-minute candle is trading up into this candle's wick, favoring more bearish delivery when I'm seeing this right here. So 3 minutes till the next macro. I still haven't taken a trade, obviously. All right, so let's clean this up here a little bit. Here was this initial inversion breaker. A number of mornings recently, the 9:30 open to 10 has been more consolidation than anything. So I'm keeping an eye out for that. That's totally possible, and I want to stay out of that. I don't do well in these 1 minute consolidations. I get chopped up. So here, a bearish perspective. Closed below, it inverted that, did a stop hunt. There's no SMT. There's a 1 hour rejection block. There's a daily rejection block. So here's a bearish breaker. So here's a short idea. 2 minutes outside of the macro, though. I'm leaning more towards this bearish idea. I like that a little better than the long idea, the long and the premium. There's targets below. Makes a whole lot of sense from everything I'm seeing. I probably won't be able to get in this 1 minute until my macro. So it would have been a market on that candle, probably. Looks like I could potentially get in. Targeting news low. All right, 750 inside my macro. Curious to if we get a retest of that fair value gap up in here. It's just gonna go probably. Hesitated. Waiting for a retest. I was in between just marketing in without the retest. But I didn't do it. So I would have had a 2-hour target. I don't think, feel like there's any other TD race to get in on. Point. I see where it's going. It was the gap that I wanted to see some kind of quick test into. Too far away from me at this point. I wouldn't short a retest at this point. I want to see it on the next candlestick. So here is 8:30 news low right here, this candlestick. So this is a retest I would not be interested in. Around a little bit. So 15-minute, pretty bearish to me. 1 hour. Close below this inversion isn't a good look, in my opinion, for bullish delivery. Then look at this 4-hour candle. It's going to close here in 6 minutes with a strong rejection block up there. Another possibility is, what if it just chops for another day or two in this zone? That's totally possible. Curious to see how this candle closes. I'm okay with being patient right now. Really, for me, and it can do whatever it wants, but this 4-hour candle taking these highs feels significant. It doesn't mean it can't keep going. I've definitely seen it do exactly that, where it takes some liquidity, looks like it's going to turn bearish and flip around and just keep running. Especially with this previous month's all-time high right there. That's just going to be like a huge magnet. Price. What else? What else? What else? It is 9:54. Back over to this screen. So retest did happen. I wouldn't have shorted that. I don't like that kind of retest. I feel like the 1-hour chart's not being very helpful to me now. Might swap it out for like a 30-minute maybe. That over here. Put 30-minute, seeing if there's anything a little clearer. This 30-minute candle so far is a compression. Stop hunted both sides of this candle. And that's an indecisive candle, so it's not actually any more helpful. On the 1 hour, anticipating likelihood of this gap forming. Price could come trade down into that for continuation. That's just really deep into this zone. Also, there was not any SMT up in here, I don't believe. Now that I think about it. Go back over here to this chart. Go to the 1 hour. Oh, no, am I incorrect? What's going on right there? There is bearish SMT. There is. Oh, look at that. So that's a change in state of delivery on top of my model. I don't like that tailless candle, but this thing's going down, I think. Without me. Don't know if I can weasel my way into this. Time-wise, 9:57. Price is going to run to my target without me. This blue line midnight open. So for me, this was the trade. Like, if I look at this price action and go, what was best play so far of the day? Over here is it. And I had put a position tool and was scoping it out. I had just sat down on my charts. I wasn't ready to take a trade, but I saw it and I'm like, I think that's the trade. And I'm finding more and more these kind of things happening where, how to say, I'm not certain enough to, well, I guess in this case, I would have pulled the trigger if I would have gotten the retest, as what I said. But finding that even in uncertainty, there's still high probability. And that's suggesting maybe needing more confidence in myself, like knowing where price is delivering. All right, so we got a new 1 hour candle, which closed pretty dang bearishly, super bearishly. It was tempting to get in on that, but this, like I saw this change in state of delivery, and it just made me want to market order in. It's not my model. Like a change in state on top of a breaker is not my model. And if it's a continuation play, that wasn't it either, because there was no stop hunt for me to consider or an inversion to consider. So heading for New York PM session low, previous day low. Waiting and seeing. We'll see. Might be helpful to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, those are all these relative equal lows here. So juicy. So, all right, still inside the macro. I'm not seeing any option for me to get in on a continuation play. Let's check out the 4-hour chart. 4-hour candle. Technically a bullish closure on this candle. And I've absolutely seen this kind of candle then get rated for more bullish delivery. But I would have to look at this and feel that to be exceptionally bearish. Especially with this trendline liquidity down in here, making me think if the Tuesday high of the week is likely, or a weekly profile, excuse me. But I don't know. We'll see. This 15-minute closed, forming this inversion. Beautiful inversion. I don't play the 15-minute, but dang. That's perfect for a 15-minute model. There's this 1 hour. Breaker's pretty much invalidated. This inversion's been inverted twice. Or this fair value gap's been inverted twice. Gap formed super small. Just waiting at this moment. 10:04. The macros here, I'm expecting continuation macros. So between 8:50 and 9:10, for example, that 20-minute window, expecting continuation for these macros. Here's probably the smart money reversal, the continuation macro. I'm just going to mark out a couple of things here. Item, I like to review my thoughts later in the day, so I kind of write down what I was thinking, so I can know if my plays were like, did I miss the good trades? I say like, yeah, I liked this setup, but I wasn't ready. So that way I know there's a reason why I didn't take it. In this case, I saw a long, also here. Wanted more info. Coming down into here. Look at this right here. Coming for this tailless candle possibly. Noting this fair value gap. That too would be an inversion and a breaker. Which would be a 1 hour stop hunt. Would have a tap into a 1 hour level. Boy, that's tempting too. I know it's against the other idea. Possible it just wants this tailless candle before reversing too. See what the other indices are doing. So there is a 1 hour SMT forming, not confirmed. "15-minute SMT forming, not confirmed. Just the way the 1 hour invalidated that little tiny fair value gap is a bullish case scenario in my opinion. Now, I like this short better, but I have to sit here and question, like, could I have been wrong? That's as much as it wanted. It wanted this news low, these equal lows for more bullish delivery. So that's kind of what I'm evaluating right now. It feels a little early for a reversal. ES is delivering bullishly. So is YM. Suggesting maybe that NQ is going to catch up, given that these two are pushing similarly. Look like 160 for 2. Came down into the new day opening gap, tapped into this 1 hour gap, stop hunted on the 1 hour. It's now 10:10 outside of my macro. I'm also getting a bit of a high resistance vibe from the 1 hour, 15-minute chart, making me wonder if it's not going to want to really move. But it could. What's the SNNQ doing? Similar kind of thing. ES has just found support on the London high. Same thing with YM, found support on the London high. And that's kind of where I'm looking here. London high too on NQ. So just how I would have played this, I would have been break even had I gotten entry like a retest in here like I was hoping for earlier than that. I would have been break even on that trade. It would have been 75% to my target, and I would have moved to break even. Which is a bummer when it just like barely doesn't make your TP, right? We'll see what happens in this long idea, for example. It may not even have a confirmation, so I don't even have to. I might not even have to think about it. I want to pre-think it though. That way I don't have to make such a split-second decision. Clean this up a little bit, maybe. So seeing this pattern without all the drawings. Find the narrative in it. That's what's important. So it found support on midnight open. That's important to me. It retested midnight open. Tapped into a 1 hour for value gap, 15-minute SMT. I like how this went down into here and balanced out this fair value gap. Tells me I can have a tighter stop. So it's going to close above outside of my macro by a lot. On NQ. We do have multiple gaps that could potentially be inversions. feeling like this is one of those instances where the rules are going to mess me up. So that for me, the short idea is invalidated. All right, close above this inversion. It's early. Get a retest down into that. Tailless candle. Oh. I feel like it's going to want to retest and I can get a better entry. We do have a bearish SMT forming, noting that. Kind of waiting here, waiting for time to line up with price. Okay. Coming down for this tail, this candle. Tap that. You can't, I could mark it in here for a nice discount price. I'm actually interested in getting slightly more confirmation. So letting this candle play out and seeing, buying up in here and tucking my stop up a little tighter. Just a little extra confirmation. I don't like this close down in here. I don't like this tailless candle right there. This is exactly the rejection block on the 4-hour candle. VPR that price keeps failing to flip. Time-wise, it's 8:20 or 10:20. Inside the macro on the next candle. Did not close above. This breaker right here. Noting this trend line liquidity building up down in here. I feel like I'm getting into premium again for a long. There, missed it. So that was a beautiful trade down in there. All right, close above that breaker. Not gonna lie, something's bugging me out. I'm trying to figure out what that is. I think if NQ was looking like ES and YM, I would be much happier. Right now, NQ on the 1 hour is looking like it could start zebra striping. That's what's bugging me out. 15-minute over here. Oh, this super strong rejection. Don't really like that. 1 hour have this consolidation, close above, but then super deep tag down into here, down into discount, creating more relative equal lows right down in here. Here on the 15, this BPR keeps getting pushed into. This inversion failed on the 15. Kind of making me feel like it wants to just range in this larger range, these 1 hour candles. 4 hours not looking great with this consolidation down in here, this solid rejection down in here, up this candle. But then here's this super bullish response. I guess the question is, am I trying to force it? Feel like it. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit further. So here on the daily, we've taken the previous day high, tapped into this rejection block. Seems salient, this rejection block. I got a few too many lines on this chart, so why it's not pulling up the settings. So here's a 30-minute chart over the course of the week. And the weekly chart. So far, crushing candle for the week. So I wanted to see price come down into this zone for a long. And what it did is it came way down to this new day opening gap for the long. I didn't trust it, didn't take it. And here, this is looking like zebra stripes. Five-minute volume imbalance right there with a fair value gap. Take that gap right there that's been inverted once, twice. Look at this 1 hour. This is just ugly. Accumulation, manipulation. There should be distribution. But after this stop hunt, strong rejection. This fair value gap right here in this response is the only thing that turned me back to bullish, was that right there. Back to here. I'm just not interested right now. Yeah, these 1 hour candles have me wigged out. Like, I want to see 1 hour candles move like this. I don't want to see 1 hour candles overlapping and creating this pattern horizontal. I am bullish between that 1 hour fair value gap and seeing Asia and London create support. Like, that's something we see with these kind of things. I just didn't like how, well, when we see these volatile pushes out of these ranges and it comes back in, it can test deep down into these ranges for another long setup. And I could have gotten in down in here, but I didn't. Wasn't certain down in here, right at this candle. And now it's too far away. All this trend line liquidity. So I was kind of saying, so it would have been in this macro right here would have been my 1021 would have been my first opportunity to have gotten in after this candle. But I think I feel a little bit like smoke's coming out of my ears trying to figure out which way I lean. I can't clearly see it either way, but at the same time I can see it both ways. Candles on the 1 hour are looking a little messy, the 15 a little messy. I'm kind of feeling like coming back later might be the best choice. I've been enjoying several, I guess, a few times this last week. I've walked away from the AM session, come back, and then seen it perfectly clearly, hit it, and had profitable trades off stream. That's happened the last 2 streams, I think, Monday and Friday. And I'd much rather hit it when I'm totally confident than sitting here trying to force it. I feel like I'm really trying to force it. I'm going to walk away and call that a day, and maybe what I'll do is I'll try to remember to start a recording this time. But I think walking away is important too, and not forcing it, because I think you can do some damage in those periods of time. So I'm shutting it down. And